Thanks for joining me for our week 6 update. I would like to give some hints about how to succeed with the thematic project artifact analysis, which is due Sunday. So, one or two artifacts discussed in depth is far better than lots of artifacts and only a surface examination. And I'll probably say this 10 times in this little update, but please do check out the examples that you can find in the thematic project area, because all of those are pieces which have been successful. For source use, make sure that you're using credible sources. There's a link in the week 5 folder to that resource, which is also in the thematic project area. And using the Sayer text is a really solid start. So don't underestimate that. So make sure you understand the facts about your artifact, what culture made it, just the basics of where it was in history and its provenance, because it's very difficult to do an analysis of an artifact if you're referring to it incorrectly. So make sure that you have completed the academic honesty quiz before you submit artifact analysis number 1. Almost everybody has. So it's there's a link to it in the week 4 folder. So I want to go over the assignment sheet and also the scoring rubric. So up here at the top in blue, I have a big reminder that when the requirement says 2 to 3 page paper, that means the minimum is 2 full pages. So a page and a half is not a full page, full 2 pages. So, and also in the requirements, it's a reminder to use MLA or APA formatting, and both of those require a Times New Roman 12-point font or something similar, with the standard margins. So for each of these artifact explanation papers, you'll choose 1 or 2 artifacts, explain how those artifacts tell us about a theme, something a culture valued, a belief the people held, or an ideal. For artifact analysis number 1, you'll explore 1 or 2 artifacts from a chapter in the first half of the text. So that's chapters 1 through 9. That's the one we're working on right now. For the next one, you'll be looking at 1 or 2 artifacts from the second half of the text, which is chapter 9 to the end. And I'm doubling up on chapter 9 because it's the only chapter that's focusing on Islamic culture in the book. So your main goal is to carefully examine the details of your artifact and prove how it represents the theme you have chosen. If you've been checking out the presentations and discussion board, you'll see that people are really doing a great job with that already this semester in that format. So you can use a combination of ideas from experts and your own observations. Just make sure you research the item carefully. One of the things that can happen with this assignment is if people have kind of a casual or pop culture knowledge of an artifact and don't do research into it, they may, misattribute it to aliens or something, which isn't quite going to work for this class. You're also welcome to use the supplemental material in the weekly folders. Actually, it makes me super happy when I see people using that, because I've spent a lot of time curating those sources, and I love it when people show that they're taking advantage of them. So some of the topics to address are how does the artifact represent the values of the culture that produced it? That's the big one. Other things are discussions about how it's unique or innovative. Why did this culture create it? What does the artifact mean to the people of this culture? And then also looking at kind of the timeline or the family tree of this idea. What has been inherited from the past and what will be carried forward into the future. You want an MLA or APA format, your header with your name, theme, the date, the assignment, just the pretty standard. Each artifact needs to be identified by reference from our text, or if you found it through research, include the image or a link to the material so I can check it out. All research material must come from college-level sources, be correctly cited, the source identified, including our Sayer textbook. So especially if you're quoting from the textbook, be careful to use quotation marks, of course. And video sources also need to be referenced. I found in the past that you need to be really careful with YouTube and make sure that you can identify the institution or the person who's posted the video to make sure that they, are not, that they're not just a casual blogger. Make sure that there's somebody who has some expertise in history. I do want to say that mistakes in documentation of sources or using poor sources can result in a failing grade. You want to include a works cited or reference page. Again, MLA or APA format for those is preferred, but at least the links to your sources so I can check them out. Here's another plug for those examples that are available in the thematic project area. And if you haven't checked out those sources in the supplemental materials each week, smarthistory.org is really great and easy to search by artifact and by era. So they're a great place to go. And also this besthistorysites.net has a list of high quality art history sources, which overlap with a lot of the things that we're looking at in our text. So now let's look at our scoring rubric. You can see that 70% of the score for this comes from the analysis itself, and I've highlighted in blue the column you're shooting for, the exceeds column. The artifact is clearly used as an example of the theme and carefully analyzed in the context of its origin or culture. For source use, you're looking for all source materials high quality, carefully documented, and used to provide insight into the significance of the artifact. For the writing, that's 10% of your score. The ideas are clear and the writing is almost free of errors. So that's our overview of our assignment, which is due on Sunday. Good luck, and I look forward to reading them.